Let's go. Yep. Okay. Okay. Oh, right there. All right. We're live in 1 minute. Live in 1 minute. Yes. There's Bendy. Can't believe. There's Danielle. Can't believe a member of the media like that. Terrible. My goodness. Yep. There's Catherine. Folks, we're back to this is the real news. Sometimes it's the real news at 1, sometimes it's the real news at noon. But it's always the real news. Capiche? Okay. Will you be doing road patrol? Well, what? Of course. You're nuts. We have a lot to get into, by the way, folks. We have a lot of news. Yep. If we don't bring it to you, no one else will. At 106 on what is yet another Monday. Folks, this weather is just the weather. It is just remarkable, isn't it? Wow. What a stretch of weather we are on. Good afternoon. This is the real news at 1. Sometimes it may be the real news at noon. Sometimes it might be the real news at 11, but right now, AM. Yeah. Right now, it's the real news at 1. And we are on all of our various different platforms. Now, some people, just like in The Irishman, some people, not me, some people, you may be watching on X. Good afternoon to all of our viewers on X. You may be watching on YouTube Live. Is that allowed? Yes, it's allowed. What are you talking about? Yes, absolutely. No, it's not allowed. Yes, of course it's allowed. What are you talking about? This is the boy. The controversy in Warwick just went to another level. Now, again, as many of you realize, is the norm. There's definitely a pattern here where the rest of the media, excuse me, they tend to ignore stories. We don't, and then they pick up on them later. But let me stay on schedule because we do have a lot to get to, including Governor McKee. Very interesting. Excuse me, the group that he has decided to celebrate. There's a lot of groups he doesn't celebrate, and we're going to tell you all about it. And this situation in Warwick, though, we do have an update on the website, depetro.com. We have another update coming up. And then we also, this afternoon, I will post it. I have exclusive information. No one else has no one else has it. Surprise, surprise. Stop me when you get to something you're surprised at. We have some new postings starting with the school threat that the state police have advised to all school districts. I'm going to tell you about that. And now the Warwick mayor talking about an anonymous mailing to his home. So we're going to talk about that. Governor agreed. And I also want to touch on, obviously, we're going to talk on the political violence that is happening right now with one party. And we see examples of it here in our area, Rhode Island and Massachusetts. That's where a lot of the base of our listeners are. And no one calls them out on it, except we do on the real news. Folks, this portion of our program, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, Rhode Island's #1 garden center. Boy, the weather is ideal. You know what's even better is you stop in. This is great weather to plant. You get great sunshine, weather like today, and less watering is needed because it cools down at night. Homegrown mums and kale are outstanding this year. They have sizes ranging 4-inch, 12-inch pots, ornamental peppers, 4 to 6-inch pots. They have everything you need for fall decorations: pumpkins, straw bales, cornstalks, gourds, Indian corn. Native vegetables are tremendous, whether they're tomatoes or zucchini or corn. And this is the ideal time to plant. They're open 7 days a week. It's Steve and Debbie Jr. Byron. I share their Facebook page. Folks, it's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. All right, this is the real news at 1. even though right now it's actually 109. Now you hear me mention DePietro.com. If you log on, you'll find out why. We have original, there's Melissa. We have original video. We have original stories. We have 2 more postings come up that are being launched later this afternoon. I implore you daily to check dpetro.com, which is brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Remember, lunch, dinner, or drinks in the lounge with Anthony Santos, plus the market at Coesit. I'll tell you what I love about the Coesit Inn is, folks, I mean, if you're like me, you want to support local business. It's, we're not blind. There are businesses that are closing. There's nothing worse than when you see a local business shut their doors and then you just have a vacant, empty building. The Coesit Inn, they have the market at Coesit with original items there. Support a great, and I mean a great, local business like the Coesit Inn. And as I have told you, the perfect spot for that collation lunch. Not many restaurants at lunchtime can handle a large setting like that. The Coesit Inn can. Again, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick, and the menu is terrific. All right, since I'm mentioning depetro.com, I am getting a number of people that are asking me about this. And so I did post it, but I'm going to address it right now. Again, it's on depetro.com. I have no idea. I haven't seen, I've had a busy morning. I have no idea if other people have. I doubt it. But state police right now at 111 have Rhode Island schools on alert for a threat. So West Warwick put out the word to their people that the district was made aware by the Rhode Island State Police a threat. Public schools in New England. Public schools in New England. You know what's amazing about this? The district's following all safety protocols. They've been informed by the state police. All students and staff are safe. Again, you can see that on the website, depetro.com. What's missing is, notice it's public schools that are being threatened. Now, there have been different stories of late where they talk about, since the pandemic, many students, you can't deny, public school enrollment across the country is way off and way down. Now, there's 5 states, and I've talked about this, and we talked about it with Donna Perry. There are 5 states that have experienced massive decline in public school enrollment. And 2 of the states that they mention are Rhode Island and Massachusetts for a variety of reasons. Starting with Rhode Island. Terrible school systems, they do. Here's what you need to know about the Rhode Island public school system. Again, I'm not saying, does Borrington have it? Yes, Borrington does, but not so much about the teachers. I always maintain it's more about the community, the people that go there. But and it's normally the same. Some of the top ones are, Borrington, East Greenwich, and so forth. But nonetheless, many of the other districts performing well below the national average. Nothing is done about it. Nothing is done about it. The public school teachers unions, they're bullies. Everyone, all the cowards at the State House are afraid of them. There should be school choice in our area. There should be. But a lot of parents, what are they doing? They're, they talk about when they vote with their feet, which is they move to another state when they say, and we experience this, obviously, a lot of people leave and go to places like Florida and South Carolina or Tennessee, what have you. But in this situation, it's kind of like that, except the parents are voting by where they're sending their children to private or parochial school. And it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense where you have people where and maybe you're one of them, you send your child to a private school or a Catholic school, but then you still have to pay the taxes. In your local public schools, you don't need all those buildings. It's ludicrous, the benefit packages, and it's not worth the money depending on where you are. But certain places like Providence, and it's totally not worth the money. However, the school shootings, where do they take place? They take place in the public schools. As a result of the power of the teachers' unions, you don't hear, there's no coverage of it in our local media. So I've had people contacting me. I'm keeping my child home. We're homeschooling. I've had parents that have contacted me say, someone grew up in a family of 5 or 6, so they went to the public school. And then someone, again, in the email will say, but now I only have one child or I have 2 children. I'd rather spend the money, invest in them, and send them to a private school or a Catholic school. Governor McKee is completely, Magritte is a total puppet on a string to the teachers' unions. They laugh about him, they manipulate him. He gave them bonuses for no reason. Why would you give bonuses to the teachers in Providence? Providence schools, number one, half of the students are in the country illegally. It's the most expensive form of daycare that is out there. And none of the kids can perform at grade level. But in case you're wondering, it all depends on the district. Certain districts have more problems than others, but it's enough that the state police did contact many of these schools and warn them. And there's a violent atmosphere that is out there, and we're seeing it play out. Now, I do want to touch on the situation in Warwick and the Warwick mayoral, which we have another update on that coming. And I know the mayor of Warwick is not happy because I posted his words, and I'm going to touch on that in just a moment. But folks, I want to remind you now on this beautiful Monday, as people are saying, I think I want to improve my home or business. And I see people post it sometimes. I need someone who can paint the inside of our business. I think Nicole did that, I think, for her salon or someone else. Folks, the answer with me is always the same. AJ Home Improvement. If you're listening or watching on this Monday, and you are thinking about doing some home improvement or maybe improving your workspace, AJ Home Improvement, at least get them in the mix. Give them a chance to pitch the business. That's who you're going to pick. That's how confident I am. 401-323-9252. 401-323-9252. They can do everything. They could build you a new home. Although, not many people are doing that these days. But they do frame to finish basements. They do tremendous acoustical ceilings. They do additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling, whatever it is. AJ Home Improvement, drywall, plasters, home improvement. Call them 401-323-9252. And I share their Facebook page. So let's get to dpetro.com. Now, at this time, I am unaware. I don't know if now some of the other media are catching on to the story. Last week, we posted something where the opponent of the mayor, Leanne Hazelwood, I initially thought we were going to have her on Friday. And then we may have jumped the gun in announcing it. I have contacted her. Okay, Friday, she had a conflict. She couldn't do it. I open it up. If she'd like to join us another time, it's entirely up to her. I want to be very clear. I thought we had agreement, but I'll take the responsibility. So I was wrong to say, because I initially said she's going to be a guest on Friday. She wasn't. Now, I can't chase people every day. I've extended an invitation. We'll see if she takes up on it. But she posted, and I want to be very clear. I've had people, what is this, TMZ? Hey, listen, you have 2 people right now that are running for mayor of Warwick. One is Mayor Picozzi, and the other is Leanne Hazelwood. So they're posting things about this situation on their campaign political sites. So don't, that's what they're talking about. I'm just highlighting it. I'm just bringing it forward. But if you have a problem with the messaging, take it up with them, right? Like if someone runs a campaign commercial against an opponent and you don't like it, do you contact channel 10 or 12 and say, I didn't like that commercial? No, you could contact the campaign and say, I don't understand these people. Like, why are you posting the bolt? Because they're talking about it. So now I'm going to read exactly what Mayor Picozzi posted, which was, he posted, this is the mayor of Warwick now. My wife received this in the mail Saturday anonymously, because that's what cowards and losers do. So it was mailed to his home. Now, immediately, if you have a problem with whether it's Mayor Picozzi or whatever public official, I believe it's not like you don't know how to reach them. So whoever mailed this, you could have sent it to City Hall. They've decided, well, we want to contact the family. I don't. I frown on that. He does have a way to reach him, which would be City Hall. Nonetheless, people do it. I believe if you're upset with if you're upset with Governor McKee and you want to still send him a letter, I don't know why you could send it, but like you send it to the State House. You don't need to stake these people out, let alone anonymously at their home. But nonetheless, he writes, and this is all on the website dpetro.com. I was expecting a smear campaign that would attempt to destroy my character, reputation. To be clear, I don't believe for a second the letter came from my opponent's campaign, but negative campaigning always comes with consequences. You attack me all you want, comes with the job. But an attempt to hurt a 45-year marriage and destroy a family is about the lowest thing someone can do. And then he says, this is the mayor of Warwick now. My wife is wonderful, loving, charitable, terrific mom, exceptional grandmother, does not deserve to go through this. This attack upsets her and my family, not just me, my family. An unspeakable line was crossed. I don't know what this piece of garbage hoped to accomplish by this, but they failed. My family knows who I am. This BS was brought into my home. I wish I could assure my family it was a one-time thing, but it'll get worse. So then he posted, Mayor Picozzi posted, which then I reposted, a note to his, the first lady of Warwick, the mayor's wife, who I don't believe I've met. And then attached to that is the initial posting from his opponent, Leon Hazelwood. So it's right there. So he's now getting anonymous mail that's including things from his opponent. Now, we have a posting coming up at after 2 o'clock that his opponent is thanking. I was even surprised when I saw this, thanking the person who anonymously sent something to the mayor's home. So now, let me be very clear. You can't, I don't understand, quite frankly, those that try to control a campaign, right? I mean, and there's a lot of different dynamics to it. But some people were saying, what does a car have to do with the race in Cranston? Well, ultimately, it didn't matter. Mayor Hopkins survived that. But you can't contain what the campaign becomes. Now, this is obviously got very personal. Quite frankly, I am surprised that his opponent is thanking the person who anonymously mailed something to his home, but that's where we are right now. Now, there's another story that I want to talk about, but again, we will have that up. But here's my point. If you are upset with the message, then it's coming from the opponent. They're both going at it. For whatever reason, the rest of the media is ignoring it. Maybe they're interested in the race. Maybe they're not interested in the race, but they're ignoring it. I don't think it's something that you ignore. Now, I did receive an email from, Nicole. Nicole has a problem with her feet. Apparently, she used to play soccer. Now she's a mom, and she's having problems with her feet. She asked me, would I recommend, who is it? I was in the car. I heard you mention someone. Nicole, you want to contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist, Nicole, at 401-949-3220. 401-949-3220. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. 3 doctors on staff. Dr. Colanano, Dr. Rhoda, Dr. Batty. I refer to them as the 3 wise men. You can refer to them as Dr. Colanano, Dr. Rhoda, and Dr. Batty. Listen, they are board certified. They're doctors that will treat you, whatever the condition may be. Right now, as you're listening or watching on this Monday, if you had an ankle sprain or a broken ankle or a problem or sprain of some kind, fracture. Maybe you have skin conditions, hammer toe, bunions. Maybe you have plantar fasciitis. Here's what I'm talking about. They accept all health insurance. They have digital x-ray on site. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists are right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. Also, I'm hearing from a number of their patients that number A, have heard me talk about them, B, tell me again how great they are, and C, I've heard from a number of their patients that say, my ankle's bothering me. I've been meaning to contact them, and you kind of motivated me once I heard you mention that. You're welcome. Folks, Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist, 5-star, I'm not surprised. Remember, foot pain is not normal, should not be ignored. It's not God's will. God's will. That's my cross to bear. I have problems with my feet. I can't walk. No, wrong. That's not God's will. What are you talking about? No, Greenville Foot and Ankle Special. Call, sometimes same-day appointment, 401-949-3220. You can find them online and also on Facebook. So the work situation, that's just the direction right now. They're posting more about that than anything. As I say that, I want to just double check and see. It's possible now other media are going to pick up on it. It wouldn't be the first time. I am going to talk about the political violence that we saw yesterday. It is so horrifying. Let's see. Nope. More stuff about the bridge. Governor McGreed. God bless me. Goodness. Good Lord. Look at that. Now, I don't see anything else. Now, this afternoon, by the way, the story that we were the only ones on site for, and that is the raid that took place in Cranston. They are having a press conference. I can't make it, but I mean, I've been to some of these. They're fine. I mean, they're not. Again, I think we covered the most important part was just the raid itself, but there is an update, and they call it that it is multi-state theft, that Homeland Security investigations were involved. From what we understand, they raided a home, obviously in Cranston. We were live there, in Warwick, and then also Pawtucket. So it looks like, and I haven't seen anyone else really that I'm aware of, but we will get more details on that. Now, as far as the violence that we saw take place yesterday, like many of you, I just, it's so horrifying. And right now, there is, and they don't want to address it, but just hear me out. There is a problem with violence with one of our political parties. And I'll give you a hint. It's not the Republican Party. There's seemingly no accountability. Every message that comes out of the Democrat Party, and I don't hear anyone in the Democrat Party call for it to end. What is the end game here? Are they only going to be satisfied when someone is actually successful and takes out the Republican candidate? Is that where this is going? And I've talked about it. No one thinks, gee, Sheldon Whitehouse has these ads that he's running for election and Senate. Everything's the fight, and we're going to fight them. And I'm fighting for you. We're going to take the fight to them. And it was really on display to me in the debate on Tuesday when Kamala Harris was mocking a political rally. And the moderators of ABC didn't say anything to correct her. They didn't inject anything. Admittedly, it all fell to President Trump. But where are we that she felt comfortable enough to joke about a rally, that President Trump was shot, almost lost his life, someone was killed, 2 of the people were in critical condition? When you have 4 people shot, that is the definition of a mass shooting, just so we're all clear. And yet she felt comfortable enough to joke about it, and not David Muir and that, I can't stand that Lindsay Davis, said nothing about it. Said, excuse me, Madam Vice President, don't you think that's insensitive since someone lost their life for attending a political rally? Nothing. Zero. And we've seen it locally. David Cicilline, how long about, well, I've been up close with these Republicans, and let me tell you, they are scary and they are way out there. And another good example that, again, local media doesn't talk about is, so Jerry Zarella ran the Trump campaign in Rhode Island in 2016. And then Jerry Zarella was going to allow someone to host a fundraiser he has a farm in Exeter, and he was going to allow the person to hold a fundraiser there. And Governor McKee canceled the fundraiser because I'm not going to something where there's someone like that, and went on to describe that anyone that would be involved is almost like a subhuman, and I wouldn't go near anyone that's a class below the rest of us. And he actually didn't have the fundraiser there. See, this is the type of talk that we're talking about. And you have, like Seth Magaziner, political violence is never acceptable. It's coming from one party. Of course this guy's a Democrat. They rile them up. They blow dog whistles. When Sabina Matos got caught with dead people's signature for nomination papers, who did she blame? Well, this is obviously those vicious, dangerous, subhuman MAGA Republicans. That's the way they talk. And the same thing with that Aaron Ruggenberg and everything. It's all, you depict the person less than human. So they get people to think much, and I'm not going to be the first one to say it. How do you think they, and not to get too dramatic, but they brainwashed many of the Nazi soldiers as if, like, you're not taking the life of a human person. They're a subhuman. Like, that's the way they talk about it. So all of these Democrats, this business of, at no point do they ever stop to think that, maybe we do have a problem. Maybe we do have a problem. Maybe we shouldn't refer to them in this way. Do they have any idea what's going to happen if one of these attempts is successful? It's so, I don't want to hear one more thing about January. Like, it's just so beyond the pale at this point. So when you have a party and you have people like McKee and Matos and Magaziner and Sheldon Whitehouse, and then Ariana Presley and the squad, and they're preaching, encouraging violence. Same thing with Harris. Oh, did someone die at a rally? Like, it's a big joke. She thought she was so comfortable in laughing about that a firefighter lost his life at a Trump rally. She felt comfortable enough to bring it up and mock it in a debate. They were basically laughing at the family of the man that lost his life. And as I said, there were two other people that are still in critical condition, and then not even called out on it. It is beyond the pale. And especially locally, a member of Sheldon Whitehouse campaign team was arrested in Newport for assaulting a woman, and the local media didn't want to do anything about it. And then we can harken back to, and I had a front row seat in 2020 where they wouldn't talk about the violence that we saw play out with all these BLM riots and everything else. It's justified, and it's encouraged, and it's tolerated, and it's allowed. That's what's going on. Sheldon Whitehouse, they didn't feel the need to distance themselves because it's acceptable in their circles, because they are the ultimate, the ends justify the means. Folks, this portion of our program, if you're thinking of getting a new vehicle, and when I mean a new vehicle, I mean a new vehicle for you. It may be a pre-owned vehicle, but Valari Motors, they specialize in Volvo sales and service. They sell quality pre-owned vehicles, largest selection of Volvos in Rhode Island, located 1003 Park Avenue in Cranston. It's Volare Motors. Great prices, great vehicles, great service. New England's #1 dealer in used pre-owned Volvo sales and service. Stop in and see my friend Paul Staskavich. You know, Paul is the ultimate. Every community needs a Paul Staskavich. He lives in Cranston. He runs his business in Cranston. He's running for office in Cranston, a rare hat trick as a citizen. Plus, he doesn't do it alone. He's got the mechanic, Steven. Stop in, shake his hand, meet him. Volare Motors, 1003 Park Avenue in Cranston. Well, folks, good afternoon. Now, I want to touch on, obviously, we're going to bring you the latest with this individual. And yesterday, when the word started to come out of how close he was, and I don't fully know yet, did they stop this individual because, was it unsuccessful because of the Secret Service, or did it almost happen because of the Secret Service? That we don't know. Suspect in apparent Trump assassination attempt charged with 2 firearm counts. Scratched off serial number. Body cam video arrest. He laughs in court. 400 yards away. Biden now says the Secret Service needs more help. Blames Dems for assassination attempt. How do you not? It is but let's just be crystal clear about this. There's one party. It's the Democrat Party. You know, locally, they didn't cover the fact that a number of union representatives from Rhode Island, union members, assaulted a woman at the Democrat Party. It's goonery. It's thuggery. And that's why I actually really enjoy speaking with Justin Katz in our segment, because it's tolerated, because it's allowed. So that's what's really going on with this. Now, this whole business of jumping ugly at President Trump and J.D. Vance over the cats and the dogs, which, by the way, I don't, if you don't find that song funny, I can't help you. And as I've even said to people, if you don't find it funny, then you're on the wrong page. Because I have been humming it. My friend Sal said we're all singing it. I mean, I think it is so creative and hilarious, as a matter of fact. Let me just play a small clip of this. I love this. Dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. I love this part. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. People of Springfield, please don't eat my cats. Why would you do that? Eat something else. I agree. Eat something else, you Haitians. People of Springfield, please don't eat my dog. Don't eat his dog. Has a catalog of other things to eat. Good point. They're eating the dogs. It's true. They're eating the cats. Yep. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. I love that he said that on the debate. I mean, just debate gold from President Trump to throw that out there. They're eating the cats. It's deciding the election. Now, as much as they're going after them, couple of things. People in that area talk about, and I've heard of actually an instance, we're on the verge of breaking a story that it's actually even going on in Rhode Island. And I've talked about this for quite some time. I'm going to get to that. But there was a bad problem with feral cats. And when these individuals moved in, suddenly all the feral cats were gone. There was a problem with stray dogs. And all of a sudden, all the stray dogs are gone. So, and there were people calling saying, my dog is gone. So, but I thought the fact with that comment, and I want to give credit to Jonathan Karl of ABC said, the real power of President Trump on the debate stage has been the unscripted moments, such as in 2016 when Hillary Clinton said, well, good thing you're not in office about the rule of law. And then President Trump said, well, because you'd be in jail. Boom, absolute home run. And then the debate in June when Biden mumbled whatever he mumbled. And then President Trump said, I don't know what he just said, and I don't think he knows what he just said. Again, boom. Now in this, as I've been trying to say, instead of just saying build the wall, is there the whole discussion, that comment by President Trump, it wiped out anything that she said, as a matter of fact. So I want to, it wiped out anything that she said, and it took away any momentum that she was trying to get from the debate. Let me just say a small clip of this just for a second.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
All right, here's my point. So what it has done is it's not exactly great comfort to say to the population, listen, there's 20,000 people that have been plopped down here, but rest easy, they're not going to eat your dog or cat. I wouldn't consider that like good news. Oh, okay. I mean, to me, it kind of falls under the guise a little bit, not exactly, but a little bit of like, other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? But that comment and the media latching onto it and the power of social media, that song and all these people filming, it's all over TikTok, it's all over social media. And what has it done? You don't see Harris. You don't see you don't see her. So all this talk that she won the debate, it was wiped out by the whole thing with the dogs and the cats. Now, there is, and it comes to a larger point, and it's local that I want to touch on. But folks, I want to remind you now, right now, on this sunny Monday, hear me out. If you're thinking, mind you, of redoing your kitchen or bathroom, if you're one of the people you're listening or watching right now, I implore you, you want to talk to Dennis and Christina of Dream Maker. You can call them at 401-433-7272. They have a state-of-the-art design center right on Greenwich Avenue in Warwick, right near Crown Plaza, right next to Kachai. Dream Maker Bath and Kitchen. They are one stop. They take you from concept to completion. And what I mean by this, in a world where sometimes you're not sure who you're dealing with, Dennis and Christina, they define and exhibit respect, integrity, and customer focus. You want to do business with Dennis and Christina of Dream Maker. Respect, integrity, customer focus. Now, I mentioned last week, there was someone that I saw they don't live exactly near me, but kind of, and I saw they're having some work done by someone. And if they had asked, I would have said, don't go with that individual. They have a horrible reputation. They're questionable. They're sleazy. So what do you think? What am I going to say? What am I going to ring their bell and say, I don't know if you should have that done? I didn't. So what do you think happened? They recently contacted me saying, hey, can you help me out? This person ripped me off. I could have told you. They're not the type of people you want to do business with. Dream Maker Bath and Kitchen, you do. And a brand new kitchen, listen, it's a big project. Or a brand new bathroom. Dream Maker Bath and Kitchen. This is who you want to do business with. 401-433-7272. Now, since this happened, I also want to reiterate this business of, well, people think it's not nonsense. Now, locally, for whatever reason, as we know, the Rhode Island, many of the problems that we're experiencing in the state right now, it's not all because McKee and Matos run the state, much like Mass, as a sanctuary state. But that status doesn't help. But no one talks about, gee, there's no housing. Gee, I wonder who's taking up all the housing. Those of you that watch Road Patrol, when I'm out there, full streets, nobody speaks English. Triple decker home, 12 people live on the first floor, 10 people live on the second floor, 8 people live on the third floor, and 8 people live in the basement. No one can compete. And landlords rent to them. And they never, it doesn't matter. They're not kicked out. But I have had stories. I have someone that's in the process of supplying me a video where they are trapping and hunting animals in Roger Williams Park, in Lincoln Woods, and then, preparing them for meals. Now, our local media won't cover something like that because they continue with this narrative that, and it's a false narrative. I'll tell you what the media says is, gee, are we a sanctuary state? And what does McKee say when he's asked? Gee, I don't know. Are we? Like, they just deny it. They don't highlight it. What you need to know is the customs that these people bring. They don't adapt and become American to our way of life. They stay in that. So there are videos of people doing things like that, but it goes beyond that. The gang violence that is out there. And notice I have talked about, and the rest of them, and I don't mind, by the way, with Road Patrol, one of the things that we, I think, really highlight is the gang problem that goes on in the state that the rest of the media ignores. But you have a situation right now. What does Governor McKee do? What does Governor McKee do? Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Isn't that every month? Wall Street Journal. Gang found Venezuelan prison has grown into a fearsome transnational criminal force in less than a decade. MS-13 on steroids. It has extended its deadly reach north. The gang has found lucrative territory in New York City and surrounding states like Rhode Island. That is the Wall Street Journal. You see some of the crimes that are being committed, and they are ruthless. Here's the part. Our local media folks, and especially our local government, they completely leave us vulnerable. That's what McKee does. He provides a safe haven to these criminals. And many times, many of the robberies you're seeing, I shared with some of the subscribers on our subscriber page, be cautious of the individuals that have these gang tattoos because they're very distinctive gang tattoos. And I had a member of law enforcement show them to me. And so I put the word out. And one of the reasons he showed it to me was he said they were trying to put it out to the rest of the media and they had no interest in the story. They're not serving you. They serve, McKee is not protecting you. Many of the crimes you can attribute. There's a lawlessness that accompanies when you have a sanctuary state. And some of these crimes that are committed. For instance, we have my gun guy is George at Rhode Island Guns and Ammo right there, Post Road in Warwick. Stop in, 10% off if you mention the show. Right down the street from Greg's. That gang that backed their car in and then stole 30 handguns. What our local media doesn't talk about is they hit several other gun shops in New England. They believe they originated out of New York. And it's not that far to come up to Connecticut, Rhode Island, Mass, New Hampshire, and they just go on a crime spree. These are very dangerous individuals. On Road Patrol, I've shared with you the gang turf problems that are breaking out. But I think see, I believe, and I want I want all of you to understand. I believe you're an adult. I believe the media and especially our public officials should put out information to you, and then how you react to it or what you do with it, that's then your decision with what you do with that. So, but they're not doing that. I think one of the saddest things about the shooting death of Maya Brophy Bayerman was when her mother said to me, and even said in a live interview, we had no idea that Providence had a gang problem. That's because Mayor Alorza and the city council was on a mission to continue to tell people that there's no gang problem. And our local media was happy to go along with it. And then look at something like that happens. So now, just so we're all, I mean, I recognize there's a gang problem and I still go out and cover it. But what I feel bad is when something happens and then people say, I didn't know about that. And then the media knows about it. You know, we talk about like the mother in that famous scene in Jaws when she approaches, Chief Brody on the dock and slaps him and says, I just learned a girl went swimming the other night, was eaten by a great white, and you didn't say anything. And that's what we have going on right now. And I also talk about a story that's way under the radar. Are in Latin American countries, their culture is different than our culture, which is you have men that are 21 and 22 in certain Latin American countries, and they are dating 14 and 15-year-old girls. We don't allow that. But they come up here and then they start doing that, and no one says anything. And then, we thought it was allowed. It's not your imagination. There's just more of a lawlessness in the gang activity. We're about to break the story that, by all accounts, you had an 18-year-old killed recently, just last month, over a rap video that he put out. And I'm going to break the story. The rest of the media won't tell you that story because they just continue this whole mentality of it's about clam cakes and chowder and Johnny cakes and coffee syrup and an old school Foster, like this Rhode Island BS narrative. Don't you understand what's happening? And I'll tell you what's really unfair. It's unfair to do it to our local members of law enforcement. As a Worcester police officer, I met up with two police from Worcester recently, and they were saying we signed up to be members of law enforcement in Worcester, not Colombia, not in Bogota. Half of the people we're dealing with now don't speak English. Half of the people that we're engaging with aren't even from here. It's so, I don't know how else to describe it. It's selfish, reckless, and dangerous that McKee and Matos, they continue to do that. I am telling you right now, there's going to be an incident. They're not going to do anything until there's a high-profile incident. Now, getting back to what I think, it is a story going on in Warwick. And again, if you check depetro.com, we have the mayor's response. And then I'm going to post. I'm a little surprised at that. I did offer his opponent if she wants to come on the air. But I am surprised that his opponent is thanking someone for sending an anonymous mailer to the home of the mayor of Warwick. Why would you thank someone for sending an anonymous mailer? That's a new one. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by J. Perry Paving. If you're thinking of getting your driveway paved or maybe your parking lot paved, call J. Perry Paving today, 401-732-1730. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service. 20 years experience specializing in commercial paving, residential paving, seal coatings. Free estimate, any project. It's J. Perry Paving. As you're listening on this Monday, if you're thinking of getting your driveway paved, which, by the way, is a great investment in your home or business, contact J. Perry Paving today. 401-732-1730. Free quote, letter J, J. Perry Paving. And remember, if you're a veteran or you're related to a veteran, no one has a better package than J. Perry Paving. 401-732-1730. Don't tell me that the local media is not protecting a lot of this. Don't tell me that local media is hiding from you a lot of things. I get complaints. From public officials and certain members. I don't know. I should say complaints. I get criticized is probably a better word. They don't say anything to me. Feds police investigating multi-million-dollar theft ring. Gee, who had that last week? Yes. I recognize I get criticized, and it's really simple. They say, and here's the criticism. Now, I want to be very clear. It's having no impact. But here's the criticism from some members of the media and some public officials. This is the criticism of one of me. He should not have that stuff unfiltered. Here's what they say. I should be filming, edit it, and then put it out. I say no. We're live. We are unfiltered and uncensored. Well, you should be editing that and filtering. You shouldn't just be putting it out there. All right, Channel 12 has a story. Car crashes into Domino's in Warwick. Driver error. No one was injured. There's the Channel 12 story about what happened. Car crash. Drivers didn't face any trials. Now, those of you that watched last night, what are they neglecting to tell you? The driver could not speak English. They had to get an interpreter for the driver. The driver couldn't speak English. Now, hear me out. Why are they hiding that? If you watched live last night, not only did I not hide it, I pointed it out. Why are they hiding it? Driver was a middle-aged man. Yeah, a middle-aged man that could not speak English. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you can't speak English, there's a pretty good chance you can't read English. What are our road signs? Our road signs are not in Spanish. Our road signs are all in English. So all of these cars crashing into buildings, everything else. Here's my point. Why is the media not telling you that a lot of these incidents are being caused by people who don't speak English? And they don't speak English because they're not from here. Then why are they driving? Because McKee gave them driving privileges that look exactly like a driver's license. When you're watching Road Patrol, and yes, we'll be active tonight, and yes, we'll be active, or if something happens this afternoon, how many times, and we carry it live, they need a Spanish-speaking officer on scene every single night. How many times when I'm out there do I say to you, when I'm out, I was in Silver Lake on Friday, when I am walking through the neighborhood and I'm greeting all the people with hola, do they say, what do you mean? Hello? No, what do they say? Hola. They like that I say it. Why do you think I say it? Because it's a test to show that none of them are speaking our language. So if they don't speak the language, there's a pretty good chance they don't fully understand it. If you show up at the DMV and you're here illegally in Rhode Island, you are granted immediately a driving privilege. And many times they also help them obtain a vehicle through state grants and taxpayer-funded projects and so forth, where then they give them vehicles. And we have to pay for it. So you have to pay for the schools, you have to pay for them behind the road, and the media ignores it. Folks, again, you have been listening to, this is the real news, without question. Now, Will we do Road Patrol Live later? Yes, as a matter of fact, we will. All right, in the meantime, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. We will have an update. That situation in Warwick is heating up in that mayoral race. 2 o'clock news will be back on the radio tomorrow at 11, but we will be doing Road Patrol Live later. Stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news.